The skies of Britain are not empty. Across the seasons, flocks of starlings wheel in black clouds above cathedral spires, swans skim across winter lakes, and solitary buzzards spiral lazily on warm thermals above green valleys. And these are familiar sights, part of the rhythm of our countryside. But scattered within Britain's UFO archives and cryptozoological newsletters, there's another story. A story of shapes in the sky that defy the known order of nature. These are described in whispers as birds, but of a size that makes them pretty much impossible. Their wings stretch wider than rooftops, their feathers as long as a forearm, and their presence accompanied by strange smells and stranger sounds. They are Britain's phantom birds, our forgotten Thunderbirds. Case number 1, the schoolboy and the bird in the oak. It was a morning like any other in the rural north of England, and a boy made his way to school along a lane bordered by oak trees. These were trees he'd passed every day of his young life, their branches home to blackbirds and jackdaws and the occasional wood pigeon. But on this day, as he passed beneath the largest oak, he stopped dead in his tracks, because there, perched among the upper branches, was a bird that dwarfed every creature he had ever seen. In a treetop, it was larger, bulkier. Its outline filled the crown of the oak as though the tree itself was burdened by this thing's weight. He stared in disbelief, and then he did the only thing he could think of. He ran, as fast as his legs would carry him, to fetch his teacher. When the two of them returned, breathless, the branch was empty. The great bird was gone. Only silence remained in the canopy, and something else, gouges in the bark, as if heavy claws had gripped the wood. The teacher looked up, puzzled. No owl, no hawk, no buzzard could have left these marks so high and so deep. The incident was recorded only in the margins of a local paranormal newsletter, but the detail is haunting. A boy's honest terror, a vanished creature, and the claw marks that spoke of a weight far greater than any native bird. Case 2, the poultry-smelling bird of a farmstead. So some encounters don't end with a simple disappearance of a shape in the trees. This rural family reported an event that has no easy parallel. On a winter's evening, as the last light drained from the fields, they heard a disturbance in their yard, and peering into the gloom, they saw something moving. It was slow and heavy as it emerged from the darkness. It was a bird, at least that's the only word they could find, but it wasn't a bird of normal size. Their neighbour later described the sight as a huge bird-like shape shambling forward before unfurling wings so vast that the light itself seemed to be blotted out. The witness grasped for an image that might capture it. He said it was like a man running in a feathered cape, the wings flapping with deliberate, thunderous beats that stirred the cold air. By morning, the evidence of its visit remained. Feathers were scattered across the mud, but not the modest plumes of pheasants or goose. These were monstrous quills, longer than a man's forearm, black and slick with dew. And there was something else, an overpowering smell of poultry, as if an invisible henhouse had been overturned in the yard. The family didn't keep chickens. And case number 3, the brothers and the sky monsters. So perhaps the most extraordinary accounts come from 2 brothers, who on separate occasions witnessed shapes in the sky so large that they could scarcely believe their eyes. Looking upward, they saw what they described as giant birds, not once, but twice. The creatures glided high overhead, wings beating slowly and deliberately, and the boys searched for words, and they found themselves comparing the shapes to a wedge-tailed eagle, known as one of the largest birds of prey in the world. But these were not eagles. They were, by the boys' own reckoning, 3 to 4 times larger. Now that would mean wingspans of 20 to 30 feet. That's the width of a small aircraft, and these were, in the boy's words, monsters. And then came the strangest detail of all, because as the vast birds passed overhead, the brothers swore they heard a sound. Not the harsh cry of a gull, nor the scream of a hawk. It was, they said, like conversation. Unintelligible words exchanged back and forth in a cadence disturbingly close to human speech. What they had seen was outlandish enough, but a bird that spoke? It was beyond explanation. These cases were catalogued in the same newsletters that chronicled Britain's UFO wave of the 70s and 80s. Lights in the sky, livestock being mutilated, and mysterious strangers wandering the lanes of rural Yorkshire. These incidents formed a tapestry of high strangeness where boundaries between UFOs, hauntings and cryptids all blurred, and the phantom birds seemed to be woven into this tapestry, not just zoological anomalies, but participants in this broader theatre of the unexplained. Now, to grasp the enormity of these claims, you've got to have a quick look at ornithology. The largest bird native to Britain today is the white-tailed eagle, recently reintroduced to our coasts with a wingspan of up to 8 feet. The largest flying bird on Earth is the Andean condor, stretching to 10. But these phantom birds described by British witnesses were said to be double or triple that size. Feathers longer than 20 inches, shadows blotting out the light, and if it's true, these creatures were absolutely prehistoric sounding. Like the teratons of the Pleistocene, giant vultures with wingspans of 25 feet, thought to be extinct. Are we to believe that a ghost of that lineage still circles above the Yorkshire moors? What else could account for these sightings? Yes, misidentification gets brought up, doesn't it? Herons, swans, buzzards, distorted by light and perspective, but none of those birds would perch in a 30-foot-high oak tree and leave claw marks in the bark. Exotic escapees again comes to the fore, eagles and condors loosed from private collections. We do have alien big cats, don't we? Could alien big birds be part of the same phenomenon? But again, even condors fall short of the scale of these sightings. And what about living fossils then? Relics of prehistoric ages hiding in the forgotten corners of the countryside. And for those immersed in UFO mysteries, these birds are not natural creatures at all, but they are manifestations of the same intelligence that projects lights and craft into the sky. Zoology, paleontology, or high strangeness, the explanations multiply, but the mystery remains a mystery. Witnesses described what they saw in plain words. Monsters, a man running in a feathered cape, a conversation in the air. They're not stock phrases used in myth and legend, but they are the startled expressions of people caught in a moment of the impossible. And whether misperception, exotic escape, or visitation from something stranger, the phantom birds have left their mark. For centuries, our folklore has whispered of monstrous birds, the guaba of Wales, the storm heralds of the north, the gabble ratchets. Perhaps in the closing decades of the 20th century, those whispers took wings once more, and shadows over the field became birds in the air. A feather in the mud was a sign of a giant visitor, and of a mystery that never truly landed. The YouTube show is only a part of the vault. Beyond the broadcast is the archive. And at eeriesvault.com you'll find our growing library of case files, first-hand accounts of the unexplained, written reports from people who lived through something strange. And we need yours. If you've carried a story for years, if you've never had the chance to put it into words, and this is where it belongs. Your report will stand alongside others, building a record that may one day help us see patterns that we cannot see alone. And it's easy. Go to eeriesvault.com, open the Case Files page, and hit the Submit a Case button. Fill in the details and send it on its way. Because strange events pass quickly into silence unless someone records them. Don't let your story vanish. Put it in the vault. From the depths of the vault, this is Eerie's Vault Live. Every Friday at 9 p.m. GMT, the lines are open. UFOs, aliens, ghosts, strange creatures, time slips, encounters you cannot explain. If you've seen something unusual, if something has haunted you, followed you, or simply left you wondering, then this is your place to tell it. Call in and share your story. You can watch the show live on YouTube or stream it directly at eeriesvault.com, and if you're too shy to call, then you can email ahead of the show at eeriesvault@gmail.com, and I will read your story out for you on air. That's Eerie's Vault Live, Friday nights, 9 p.m. GMT. Be part of it. For those of you who want to go deeper, there is the Eerie's Vault Patreon. Here you'll find the evidence. Original newspaper clippings, forgotten publications, rare documents. You'll see the raw material behind the stories, and you'll gain access to exclusive videos, some filmed on location at the very places we discuss, and you'll be able to watch private follow-up videos to the cases already covered on the main channel. It's not just about watching here, it's about joining the search, and by supporting the Vault, you help to keep the archive alive, help uncover more material, and help to bring these stories into the light. And if you've ever wondered what all these marks are on this map here, well, patrons get access to this interactive encounters map to peruse at their leisure. It gets updated regularly and will grow to be one of the most comprehensive encounters maps in the world. If you've ever wanted to be closer to the investigation, if you've ever wanted to see what lies behind the curtain, then Patreon is where it begins. And with numerous membership options, what are you waiting for? Head over to the Vault.